Let's get started. Episode 8 of the Perfect Turd Podcast.
Episode 8.
And this time, we went into a franchise. B-movie franchise.
Yes, sir.
Because the name of the film that we watched was Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell.
Yep, the 6th installment.
And for people that haven't watched any Tremors movies, basically...
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's... Man. Because the first Tremors, in my opinion, I think... in a lot of people's opinion, it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's really good. It starred, Kevin Bacon,
yep.
What's her name? McIntyre?
Reba McIntyre.
Reba McIntyre will probably get beat up by a bunch of country fans for not knowing that. Get him! He didn't know that.
Michael Goss, the guy from Family Ties? Is that the show that he was on?
I don't know.
With Michael...
Is that the bald one or the one with hair?
Yeah, the bald guy that played Reba's husband.
Yes.
He's been in all the Tremors movies.
He's been in all of those.
I think his name is Michael Goss.
Michael Goss.
He plays Bert.
Yeah, he's Bert. And then, first of all, Tremors is about these monsters that go underground. They can move really fast.
Yeah, worm creatures.
They're worm creatures. I think they call them...
Graboids.
Yeah, graboids. Is it graboids or graploids? Graboids.
Yeah.
And they move real fast underground. They can't see, so they go off of hearing.
Yeah.
And
vibrations.
They have like snakes that come out of their mouth too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think off of that alone, the creature setup was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like just starting with the first movie, because that's like a kind of a scary thing. You have the snakes grabbing at you. They're very sensitive to sound. They can go underground real fast. But yeah, they kept on making these movies. The first one was in theaters, and they just kept on making them like on VHS, DVD, and this one was on Netflix.
So, of course, in my opinion, the first one was awesome.
Yes.
Then they started making these direct-to-TV ones. The first couple were not that good, part 2 and 3.
I think I've seen part 2, and
they started to get better.
So, like after 4, it started getting better.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Because I haven't seen those. You have more information on that.
Yeah, I think 4 and 5 were pretty good.
Yes.
And the creatures have kind of evolved. They have ass blasters now.
Yes.
Which are the flying Tremors.
Which I did not know about until I saw this movie. I was like, oh.
So they actually kind of almost fart and propel themselves to fly.
Yeah. And it's like, don't they shit out some weird chemical that burns shit or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that brings us up. So the character to follow is Bert.
Yes.
He's in all the films.
Yes.
And he's the only actor that they were able to lock down, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's embraced the role.
Oh, yeah.
He's not one of those bitter guys that's like, I gotta make this shit again. God. He really is enjoying this role.
Yeah. He's the all-American, I love my guns, I don't trust the government.
So, yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
He's in all of them. In part 5, I think, they introduce a new character, Travis, who's like his estranged son.
Yeah.
And he wants him to teach him how to be a graboid hunter.
Yes, because that's his thing, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, he ends up being the graboid expert that anytime there's a graboid problem, they call Bert.
Yeah.
The government or whoever the hell. So basically, you're kind of caught up. Now we're on part 6, Cold Day in Hell.
Yes.
And it starts off, there's scientists in the Arctic.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, boom, Tremors, plowing through the ice.
Yeah.
Then it goes to Bert's place. He's running the old shop from the original film.
Which was ran by, I never can remember.
The Chinese guy.
Pat Morita?
No, that's Mr. Miyagi.
That's Mr. Miyagi.
This is a different guy.
Yeah.
They don't all look the same, Lamar.
No, I thought that was him.
No, it's a different guy.
I'm sorry.
This is the Three Ninjas guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What is that guy's name?
I don't know.
God damn. Okay, so...
I know he had a false eye or something.
Yes. So this is Three Ninjas guy.
The Three Ninjas version of Mr. Miyagi.
I'm sorry to all of the Asian people. I'm very sorry. I'm very, very sorry.
Lamar.
Yeah, I'm very
sorry. You don't know Kung Fu?
And now we have to apologize for that. Dear God, Joe. But yeah, so he runs that shop now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the government official comes and he's like, yeah, you owe us taxes, blah, blah, blah. They're going to put a lien on his property, but then he gets a call. from a character named Valerie. Well,
Yeah.
actually, a doctor, the Dr. Rita.
Yes.
And she goes, well, my friend, or my intern, Val,
Yes.
told me about you, that you know about these creatures. You got to come up here and help us.
And then doesn't his son show up too
His
at the
son
place?
Travis ends up showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's that, that's a whole thing. And they're like, all right, we're going to go up into the Arctic or wherever the hell they were.
I think it was Canada.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, you're right. It was Canada.
Yeah.
We're going to hunt graboids in the ice.
Yes.
And that's kind of the setup for this film.
Yeah, keywords kinda the setup.
Yeah.
Because when we get there, because I thought that's what it was going to be, like they were going to be in the Arctic.
Mm-hmm.
But then they cut to where it's just like, it's cold, but there's a bunch of grass.
Yeah.
And the way they explain it is like, oh, this has been our warmest, what did they say?
Yeah, it's like, this is the warmest weather we've had. The ice is melting a little bit.
Yeah.
It was
out of nowhere.
Yeah, because at first they were in ice.
Yes.
Like the scientists that got killed by the Tremors. And then all of a sudden they get there and it's like, it looks like, Nevada.
Yeah, the shit just melted.
Yeah.
That's all that happened. Cold Day in Hell.
Yeah.
What this movie was called.
Not so much.
No. So they get there.
Mm-hmm.
We see the ass blaster, and then basically, like, I guess the other villains of the film is DARPA.
Yeah, they were to set up DARPA as villains.
Yeah.
Which later on it turns out that they were just there to extract the water from the melting ice.
Yeah. That's it.
So that whole plot point was like, nah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and that's another thing. Okay, accents.
Mm-hmm.
Accents were very confusing to me in this movie. Because it sounded like the DARPA person was trying to have an accent, or maybe was that just me?
Yeah, it was. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Or if it was just a smug.
And then one of the guys that worked with the actual scientists they were trying to help had an accent, but then it, like, was here one time and then gone the other scenes. I was just like, so are these people like, because in Canada they have a lot of French people and stuff like that. But then with this guy just goes away.
Yeah. Well, there was also one guy that was a scientist of some kind or a doctor.
Yeah.
That was always trying to run away.
Yeah.
And they'd always have to go out and try to save his ass.
Yeah.
And then they would save him, and then he would try to run away again.
And he had a weird accent thing, didn't he?
Yeah,
he had a weird accent. So accents weren't very... they weren't discussed too much for this film. So I thought that was kind of funny. It was confusing, but it was funny. It's like, okay, this guy's American or French.
Yeah.
Whatever the scene needs.
Yeah.
So they get there.
And Bert, throughout the movie, is having, like, flashbacks. That's something that we have to put out there.
That's interesting. Because about, I guess, 5.
Mm-hmm.
He gets stuck in a tremor.
When they get to Canada
and
they're fighting the graboids, he starts slowing down, or he gets a paralysis, like.
Yeah.
And it turns out that this parasite that's in him from the time he was in the graboid is actually killing him.
Yeah.
And the only way they can create an antidote is if they catch a graboid.
I like that part of the scene because it's like, because his estranged son Travis and him, they really don't get along.
They don't get along.
Yeah, and they only, like, Travis doesn't even call him Dad.
Yeah.
He just calls him Bert.
Yeah.
So
Jamie Kennedy's looking kind of rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. I don't know. Aging. I don't know. But yeah, that was interesting how it was like the father and son, but it wasn't like too heavy. And so that's kind of like the thing with the parasite. It's kind of like, Bert is trying to be this strong guy and it's killing him. And then so Jamie Kennedy's character kind of takes over.
Yeah, he becomes the hero.
He becomes a hero. Yeah.
He's like, his goal is to catch a graboid.
Now, we got to talk about the graboids because now they're CGI. I can kind of deal with the CGI ones, but it makes me miss the original ones.
Yeah, I do like that better.
Yeah.
I like to see something that you're like, yeah, it's real, it's there.
But yeah, like I really miss like the actual like practical effects of the first one.
Yeah. There was just a little bit of that, I think, later on in the movie. It was like, we got this leftover prop that we can use.
Yeah, exactly, because they can't do it all the time.
Right.
So, And this is when like Jamie Kennedy, he's taken over. He has the hots for one of the
Dr. Rita.
Dr. Rita. Now we got to talk about the intern.
Okay, yeah, she's important to this.
She is, because whose daughter is that?
Okay, so the reason why she knows of Bert,
yeah,
was because she is supposed to be Valentine's daughter. So Kevin Bacon's character.
Yes,
she's his daughter.
In the first one, Kevin Bacon hooks up with the scientist that comes to study the graboids in the first one, and so this sets up that he had a daughter with that woman.
Yeah,
so that was interesting.
And that's why she's a Bert fan.
Yeah, exactly.
And she had a pair of graboid skin boots.
Yeah, that was funny as hell.
That was kind of funny.
Because who said, like, I think she said, like, Valentine made them or some shit. So that was cool. So it kind of, like, ties everything together, which I liked.
I like that, too.
Yes. So Bert, he's, like, on his deathbed, and Jamie Kennedy is taking over, and he's really, like, taking his father's role.
Yeah, he even like gets his hat and his glasses.
Yeah, the whole setup, all that good stuff. And so then they have to set up how to save one of these things or keep it alive because they need the pheromones and stuff. Which what they do is, how do they do this? Because it's not too complicated, but it's like it has those intricate parts.
Yeah, well, put it simply, they did like a fishing line.
Yeah.
There was a woman pilot. They essentially ran a line from her plane with a hook on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what they did. They hooked it.
And so the tremor follows that. And so they time it perfectly with like the line on the plane and that thing going off. So when the tremor comes up, he bites it.
Yep.
He flies in the fucking air into this
like a shipping container.
They trap it, and then they poke holes on each side.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then he had to go in the mouth of the tremor. Jamie Kennedy does.
And then it's the funny scene where they have to try to like cut the things out, the little snake things. Everybody gets a turn, shit like that. And I think who succeeds, like someone had like a machete, because Jamie Kennedy like fails immediately. He's like, oh, somebody else, go. And then after like somebody, I think with a machete, cuts out the tongue snakes. He gets the stuff out, puts it into the IV for Bert, and then that saves Bert's life.
Yeah. And at first, though, they were like, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's awake. He's fine.
He's good. It's cool.
He wants his glasses and his hat back.
Yeah, because he wants to, Bert wants to still be Bert, man.
Yep.
After that, Bert's fine. And then the other guys, who weren't really bad guys.
Yeah.
They come and they try to take the tremor. Oh, we didn't talk about the deal that they made to save.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. To save the government, the guy from DARPA, he agrees that if Bert saves him, that he'll, they won't have to pay the taxes or whatever, and he'll keep his property and all that stuff.
Yeah, and Jamie Kennedy negotiated that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so this plane is flying around when they're having the business of, we need to take the tremor. The one guy flies the plane inside the mouth of the tremor, and Bert is just joking around with this switch. And the plane flies in there, and the plane is actually a bomb, and they blow up the tremor.
Yep.
And then Jamie Kennedy,
he gets the girl at the end.
He gets the girl, but it's after Bert tells him, what kind of kiss is that?
Yeah. He goes back, First he just has kind of a conversation with her and gives her a little peck kiss.
On the cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, what kind? And then he compares it to like a gun. Like, I don't even know. Like, it was crazy. Like, he was like, that's like a 747. I taught you better than that. But then at the very end of the movie, Jamie Kennedy calls Bert Pops.
Yeah.
And so they're back together again, and
happily ever after. Gets the girl. That's the most unbelievable part of this movie. That he gets the girl. We got a movie with subterranean worm monsters, and the most unbelievable part is that pretty woman would go for Jamie Kennedy.
He's a hero. He stepped into his father's shoes, Joe.
Sure, right.
He did it. You gotta write that in there. Yeah. So that's basically how the movie ends. Yeah. So cool.
So that's the rundown.
That's the rundown of the film.
Now we can talk and rate this thing.
Yes.
You go ahead first.
I actually like this film. I would say it's a 4.
Okay.
I would say it would have been a 5 if they actually would have stayed with the trope that they set up in the freaking beginning. Because that was the most jarring thing ever.
Cold day in hell part of it?
Yeah, a cold day in hell for an intro, and that's it. So, and then I'm not a big fan of Jamie Kennedy, but he was kind of funny.
Yeah, he's funny. They have a good chemistry.
Yes, they have a good chemistry, and then this is horrible to say, but the deaths were cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had fun with it, and like in the Tremors universe, I feel like it's a good entry.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can only judge that between like seeing the first one and a little bit of the second one, which I thought was boring.
Yeah,
but this one, like it kind of tied in like a bunch of things, like if you know about Tremors and that kind of stuff. So that was cool. So I would say, yeah, 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Yes.
I am in agreement. 4 out of 5 for me as well. For
Yes.
pretty much the same reasons. Like they're staying consistent and actually getting a little bit better as they go.
Yes.
They'll never top the first one.
Yeah.
But definitely entertaining.
Yeah.
The pace was good. It wasn't a long movie.
Pacing was, I think it's like 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a short movie.
Yeah. Which that's fine.
Yeah, it was fine. They packed in enough. And like the Michael Goss as Bert.
Yeah.
He makes it. He makes the film. He makes the franchise. He's keeping it alive. He's got that character is really good for this.
Yes.
And I remember too, like when they decide that they're gonna go, and he walks out of his house or whatever, and they have that fake Bad to the Bone music because they can't even afford to license the real Bad to the Bone. So they get the fake, which I thought was funny. Just
you need him walking out of somewhere. And even though
he's a verse.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
A verse?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm bad, and you know it. I'm not a musician like you, Joe.
Hey, you just gotta make something up, man.
I have a gun and a bunch of bullets.
I'm here in my car.
I'm reviewing B movies
with my friend Lamar.
Yeah.
We're having a blast. Making podcasts.
Oh, eat your heart out, whoever wrote Bad to the Bone. But yeah, I think that film, I think that's something that you can keep on watching.
Yeah, it's cool that they're the Tremor or the Graboids have kind of evolved over time with the ass blasters.
Yes.
It'd be cool if they came up with some other mutations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be something they do to keep it going in the future.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Because like, with the ass blasters thing, that's like a cool addition.
Yeah.
So,
and
I don't know.
The movie as a whole I was entertained.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, good one.
Yep, even with the CGI Graboids, it was still cool.
Yeah.
So
CGI wasn't bad, too.
No.
For B-movie, we've seen worse.
Oh, God, yes. And I think it's because they knew that they couldn't use it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So they used it in spurts.
Yeah.
Which is very important. So, yeah.
Cool.
If you have some time, check out Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell.
Definitely.
So.
Right on. Well, that wraps this up. Episode number 8.
Yeah.
Perfect Turd Podcast. Peace.
Deuces.